So one of the biggest features that I wish my car had is Apple CarPlay. And while Subaru did add this feature in the 2019 and up WRXs and STIs, my 2018 doesn't have it. And while this wasn't a deal breaker for me, it sure would add a whole lot more convenience. And while I have been doing some research on these aftermarket head units that have this feature, a few main things have been holding me back. One, a lot of these aftermarket head units utilize your standard double DIN setup, which there's nothing wrong with, but since they're universal, they don't exactly always fit in seamlessly with your specific car. And number two, I do prefer to have physical volume knobs to control the music, but probably the most important one, number three, a lot of these head units aren't compatible with Harman Kardon speakers, which my car has. But while doing my research, this company called AUCAR has reached out to me to review their new head unit made specifically to fit my WRX, has physical volume knobs, and is compatible with my Harman Kardon speakers. So if you're also in the same boat as me looking for a new aftermarket head unit, maybe I can introduce you to a new option.
First thing we're gonna wanna do is uninstall the OEM head unit. Grab a pry tool and gently pry around the outside of the center vents to pop it out. Then unplug the two connectors on the back. This will reveal two 10mm bolts that we'll need to remove. Next, we need to remove the glove box to get to another 10mm bolt located on the right side. You'll definitely need some extensions on the ratchet, as this bolt is not very easy to get to. I actually ended up dropping it, but once the head unit is removed, it should be easy to reach, as I was able to retrieve the bolts afterwards. Now there is one final 10mm bolt to remove. I knew this one wouldn't be easy to get to either after that last one, so I ended up removing the center console trim in hopes that it would give me easier access to the bolt. But it turns out it wasn't all that necessary, and I don't recommend going through all the trouble since it didn't make it much easier. Instead, just remove the trim piece on the right side under the dash on the driver's side. Simply remove the one screw at the bottom and carefully pull it off. The bolt is way back in there and not very easy to get to, but the new head unit won't require us to reinstall the bolts, so once we get it off, we won't have to worry about them anymore. With all the bolts off, the head unit is now free and we just need to unplug the connectors from the back. With the OEM head unit out, we can now start preparing our new one. Inside the box, we have our instructions, along with some SIM cards and warranty information, and of course, the head unit itself. Lastly, we have all the wire harnesses. Although the amount of cables seem overwhelming, you really only need these three sets of harnesses. First, the main one, which has several harnesses zip tied together. I recommend leaving it like this, so it'll be less confusing when connecting. Then we need this harness with the audio cables. And lastly, this small harness with the yellow cable that'll allow the backup camera to work. Let's grab our audio harness and plug it into the top middle socket. Make sure it's plugged all the way in. Then grab the harness for the backup camera and plug it into the bottom left socket. We'll want to plug the yellow connector on this harness into the green one of the audio harness. Now we can grab our main harness and find the connector that fits the socket on the far left. Find this cable for the radio on the main harness and connect it to the socket on the far right. Plug these two red connectors together, then the two white connectors. The yellow ones won't be used, so we can just leave them unplugged. The next step is only required if you have the Harman Kardon speakers like me. In order for the speakers to work, we'll need to remove the telematics controller from the OEM head unit so we can reinstall it with the new unit. Unscrew the 4 Phillips screws holding it into place. And slide it out. Now we can head inside the car to begin the install. Everything is pretty much plug and play, but getting the telematics unit to fit can be a bit of a challenge. There doesn't seem to be a designated spot to install the telematics on the new head unit, which I feel would make things a whole lot easier. I tried plugging everything into the telematics unit first, but it wouldn't fit with the new head unit and the cables were just all in the way. So my solution was to stick the telematics in the back standing up vertically, then plugging in the appropriate connectors, which will be the same ones that were already connected before. When it comes to attaching the right connectors from the head unit to the car, it's pretty much impossible to get it wrong since each plug matches up to only one connector. It does come with a diagram to show you where to match everything up, but everything is plug and play. Once everything is connected, we can install the new head unit by simply snapping it into place. I didn't see an option to use screws, which I feel would be a bit more ideal for added support, since if someone really wanted to, they could pull the head unit right off without too much effort, similar to removing a trim panel, but under normal use, I don't think it's going anywhere. Now I'll put everything back together and we'll go over some of the features. First, I like how everything is automatically synced to work seamlessly with the operations of the car. The light and dark screen modes are defaulted to come on automatically based on if your headlights are on. The reverse camera still works when you put the car into reverse. Both the steering wheel buttons and knobs can be used to adjust the volume. And you still have the ability to listen to the radio. For some reason, there was no volume when I first installed it, and my solution was to go into the car settings and adjust the current volume setting, which for some odd reason is different than your volume knob controls. But there are a lot more audio adjustments you can make that you couldn't before with the stock head unit, which is pretty nice. When it comes to the climate controls, you can adjust the fan speed with the right knob and control the temperature settings with the buttons on the sides. There's also a designated screen where you can utilize the touchscreen for all your climate controls if you prefer. Another thing I like is having the ability to customize the colors of these ambient lights. And of course, having the ability to now use Apple CarPlay is a game changer for me. Really, the only things I wish were better executed in the system would be having a designated spot for the telematics if you have the Harman Kardon speakers, and having the ability to use screws to secure it a little bit better.
And if you're interested in picking up this head unit, I'll be sure to leave a link in the description below. And if you decide to do so, be sure to use the promo code STYLIN to get a discount off your purchase. And I have plenty of other install videos on my channel, so be sure to check those out and consider subscribing for more automotive content.